everybody. Welcome to Tadaima, a Terrace House podcast, your weekly companion to your favorite show on Netflix. I am Robert Scarpanito, and I am joined here by Daily Wilhelm.
Konbanwa.
Jack Cepeda.
Irashaimasa.
And Colin Sparling.
Nihongo wa muzakashi ne.
Chotto ne.
Yep, this is just Japanese only language. This is supposed to be the final exam for your Japanese 3-semester course, so get ready to translate everything, guys.
Well, considering I just said Japanese is hard.
Yeah, it is.
It's
でも
not gonna
クイズ
go
が
well.
あります。頑張ってください。
I know,
Oh, God,
I know what she
anxiety.
said. She said, welcome to the Terrace House podcast, right? We're talking about
Hi.
episode 35 of Opening You Doors called Young Faces. Guys, this is a fucking wild episode.
Just a huge tonal shift. Like
Yeah,
this show, it feels like a new show.
It's kind of great, though. I really like this episode. But let's just get right into it, okay? So we start the episode. We're 3 members down. All we have left in the house is Yui, Aya, and Shunsuke, right? And we are seeing them just kind of sitting around at the kitchen. And Shunsuke gets some kind of makeup certification, I guess? Question mark?
He passed.
Yeah, it was some sort
Yay.
of certification exam, right? So for self-application of makeup.
Yeah.
And then he also had a written part of the exam as well, right?
Yeah, and I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't remember him talking about it in episodes previous, right?
No, he never brought it up. We just know
we-
he was in some sort of school for it.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
we haven't heard a lot from him whatsoever thus
Yeah,
far. He's
overall.
very quiet.
More like
That changes a little.
he's more like Shushke.
It changes a little bit. It changes a little bit in this episode, though. I feel like he
Yeah.
opens up.
Yeah.
I got you, Robert.
Thank you, Shushke. It's great.
Oh my god.
Although, so before we get into the new boys who come in, I do want to kind of go back to the panelists because they introduced the show, obviously. They recapped the last episode, and they talked about, and this I found very interesting, they talked about how there were a lot of older adults who wanted to be on Terrace House. You know, people who I guess are above the age
Right.
of 32, because I think that was like the highest limit. And Toku even talked about how he was doing a show with Haruna Ai, who said that she wants to be on the show even though she's older than Tokui.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen.
And, well, I don't know, man. She's a big celebrity, right? Like,
Yeah. And
she would get some eyeballs into the show.
here's something interesting too. Did you know Haruna Ai is transgender?
I
Male to
did
female.
not know that.
So, I mean, that's, I guess, just another kind of hint on maybe the show's getting a little more fluid with its sexuality, right? And we see that later in this episode, too. It's kind of a lot more open now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I just kind of wanted to bring that up because if you're not from Japan, you don't know Haruna Ai, like, you might miss that detail. So, bringing us back into the kitchen, we have the first ping pong. And his name is Kaito, right? Yes.
Kaito.
Kaito Nakata, 20 years old, and he's a pro skater boy.
And he doesn't
And he
say
said,
see you later, boy.
Damn it.
And
I didn't hear what-
when he leaves, we're gonna say that all the time, Gary.
I
See
didn't
you
hear what either
later,
of you
boy.
said, guys. What did you say?
Do you know
'Cause
that?
he is a
Avril Lavigne?
skater boy.
You said see you
Oh.
later, boy.
Oh, damn it. I'm so
and
mad.
I just-
Avril Lavigne, come on.
I want to just make this known that in my notes, every time I mention him, I do write skater boy the way it's supposed to be spelled, SK8R boy.
You know what's
UI,
crazy?
right?
That song is like
Yes.
15 years old now, guys. It's really
Wow.
old.
It's
And
a
Avril
fresh
Avril
Lavigne should
Lavigne
be on
married
Terrace House.
Chad Kroger, but we don't talk about that.
Yeah. No,
I mean,
we don't mention that.
Yeah, it was for his grocery millionaire empire, you know.
Right. So Kaito arrives, and we learned it previously, but we're reminded that he is a friend of Guy's, and also, I believe, what is it? It was Makun?
Makun, yeah, he's from Boys and Girls Next Door, though.
Right. From way back when. So we have this guy coming in that has a lot of like similar mannerisms to Guy
Yeah.
that we notice. And oh my gosh, you even made the correlation that like he's definitely part of like the Pooh crew is what her
Yeah.
she
Yeah, he's
calls
the
her.
he's the Tigger to Guy's Pooh Bear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was
it's
really
awesome.
confused about that, having only watched Opening New Doors. What does that mean?
So
Yeah, you don't know who Guy Sato is, right?
right. You don't know who Guy Sato is, but basically
What,
in Aloha.
Makun?
Oh yeah, Makun's from the Boys and Girls in the Next Door,
Right,
which is
so
a
none
first
of
series
us-
that none of us have seen.
None of us know.
But in Aloha State, we had a surfer boy by the name of Guy Sato, who was very much like Kaito in the way he acts and stuff like that. And so you came to call him Pooh, essentially, as in Pooh Bear, Winnie the Pooh.
I was gonna say, everyone seemed very charmed with him. They were like, he's so cute. He holds his glass with two hands.
Yep.
Right,
I mean-
right, because he's quiet and gentle, kind of like Pooh Bear.
To give you insight into like the kind of person Guy is, you could for Christmas give him a box of pasta and he would be happy about it.
Yeah.
An
He'd be like, "Oh,
avocado.
thank you so
Thanks.
much. This is such a thoughtful gift. I can eat this."
While we're talking
lovely.
about awesome Christmas presents, you know, 'tis the season. Reminds me of my favorite scene in Bad Santa. We're like, I made you a present. Oh yeah, what is it? A wooden pickle. Thanks, kid.
And Guy would appreciate that.
Yes, he would. So he is definitely part of the Pooh crew. I mean, he reminds me a lot of Guy in so many ways. And he's kind of like small and diminutive. And they kind of point out that he has tiny features. He has a small little head. And
Small
he's
face.
just kind of, yeah. And he just kind of seems, I mean, already at this point in the game, I'm thinking he's got a little hidden smoothness to him, which we get into a little bit later. He seems very comfortable in his own skin, I guess.
Very true. And the last time he's had a girlfriend was 3 months ago. And that comes up because one of them, Yui asks him, "Do you have a girlfriend?" Right?
Right. He's certified fresh out of a relationship.
There you go.
Hey.
Yeah,
And-
that's pretty close. I mean, Yudai has him beat in that he broke up with his girlfriend in order to be on Terrace House, but
Classy.
that worked out well.
Fucking yeet.
Only to beg for her back
Just like
on the
dab
same
on
season.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah, and then beg for her back.
And then as Yusuke, or not Yusuke, wow, where did that come from? As Shunsuke and Kaito are about to go take a look at the boys' room, bing bong, second doorbell.
What?
Right.
Second you person.
Hey. I love the reaction every time someone comes to the door. Hey.
Right. And here I feel like it's a little more justified because I can't think of a time where it's been like back to back like this.
Oh yeah, it's back to back to back. I don't
Right.
know if we've ever had 3 new members come in all at once like this.
Yeah, like I said, it was the Thanos snap last week.
Yeah, half of them died.
The decimation.
Hafu.
And this new girl is a Hafu. She is Maya Kisanuki, 19 years old, half Japanese, half Sri Lankan.
You know, she doesn't even look really Japanese at all.
She's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I
got-
like how everyone was just like constantly like, oh my gosh, she's so pretty. She's so pretty. She like sits down at the table and they're still like, oh my gosh, she's so pretty.
She's so cute.
And then
Oh my God.
and she's like, I'm 19, and they're like, hey, what? You're not 19. That's a lie.
Yeah, that's the youngest we've had on this show since Yudai, I want to say.
I thought she was way older. I thought she was like 7 years older.
She
Interesting.
definitely acts pretty mature.
For sure.
And she has a deeper voice too. Like it just her, you know, register is a little bit lower.
Yeah. And she's going to fashion school, I believe. And right now it's like summer break, but she will be going back 5 days a week once the break is over. And of course, the classic question of what kind of guy do you like comes up. And she said she likes guys she can be comfortable with. She doesn't really care about looks.
And then we delve into a little bit deeper, right? Like is that she hasn't really had much luck with dudes, and so she's open to other possibilities.
Yes. And that,
Yes.
yeah, that gets explored later.
Daily gets excited. Yeah.
Before we hit that, though, let's remind ourselves that there's a third ping pong at the door.
Bing bong.
And we see Sota Kono. And what?
I have a knee-jerk reaction to this when this guy walks in, right? For one, he's a developer, or he works for an IT company that is also an app developer, and they do other stuff, probably some SaaS stuff. I happen to know a little bit about this area as well, his professional, business dealings. Anyways, the thing that bugged me the most was when he walked in was Aya. I almost said humped. Aya jumped.
Just dry humped him immediately.
I meant it was like a Freudian slip. Like I meant to say jumped all over him, like with her eyes, and was like drooling. Basically, she's like, "He's so hot. He's so hot." And first, I was like, like really? Like okay, he's attractive. Like whatever, that's subjective. But the thing that disappointed me was that man, Aya really is, as we come to find out later, she really is just like really fast to react. You know, on how she feels. Like she's fast to state it. Like he literally didn't even like put his suitcase down before she's assessed and vocalized that he's very attractive to her.
He's hot.
And it kind of diminished, I guess, like how I originally thought she felt about Taka. You know what I mean? If she's the kind of type to just like go all in like that fast, it just kind of reduces like any weight to like her words in that respect.
Yeah, which is interesting that you bring that up because with her and Taka, we thought that was a Taka specific thing, right? She was watching this dude on TV. She was a fan of, you know, the way he acted on the show, and she thought he was very physically attractive. And so like she has this preemptive image before she comes on the show and has just like knows that she wants to try and be with Taka. Whereas this dude walks in and it kind of shows us that like maybe Aya this is just how she tries to court people or how she just goes about it. Yeah.
So that was my knee-jerk reaction. Then I was just like, really? This guy's attractive? Like, I understand when people say no is attractive. I can even understand Yudai to a certain degree, but this guy, I don't know. It's not like I have a type of guy, but I just wasn't seeing it.
I don't think it's necessarily fair to interpret Aya's initial reaction to him as like, oh, well, now that's how she is. She just like falls instantly. I mean, everyone was like calling Maya so pretty, but no one was like, oh, that means that everyone's going to want to date her.
Yeah. And I mean,
it's just my two, you know, times I see her talk about a guy, I guess.
I mean, because there's an inherent
enough.
difference, right, between initial attraction and actual pursuit, right?
And she doesn't, to her point, to her credit, she doesn't say that about every guy she looks at. This is only the second one, so
yeah,
right. It was just based on like what happened with Taka, and then now this, it kind of had a similar feel to how she went about it. Like she was just very forward, I guess.
Yeah,
See,
fair enough.
To me, well, so I agree, Colin, what you were saying about how since she came onto the show as I want Taka, it kind of made her seem like she was a diehard, like, it needs to be Taka, like, he's the one. But the moment that illusion was shattered for me is when Taka left or said he was going to leave and she didn't or even think about leaving.
That's true. Like, and we've talked about before, it wasn't like, it's definitely like not Mayu levels of pursuit where she's just physically on top of the person.
Yes.
Everywhere they go.
Colin, you want to light the fireplace, buddy?
Yeah, you want to light the fire. I'm gonna go take a bath.
Okay.
It's not ready yet, but I'm gonna go.
So bringing it back to Sota Kono, he enters the house. My first thought is he looks like Han-san's little brother from Boys and Girls Next or in the City.
Ish, yeah. I mean, Tori-chan's into Han-san, into Sota. Yeah.
Yeah, you'll find out who he is later, Daily. Han-san is the best character. He's the golden god of Terrace House.
Yeah, well, not telling you to set your expectations.
Like, really into it.
Yeah,
I mean, Han-san. Not to like talk him up too much. I don't want you to go in super high expectations, but hands down, still my favorite. He's best boy.
He's the golden god.
Like, he is. Yep. He's the golden boy.
Just not that interesting a person.
Nope. I take umbrage with that.
Okay.
So Sota Kono, he's 25. He's going to turn 26 very soon. As Jack said, he works for an IT company that makes apps. And as we saw from his little preview at the end of the last episode, it seems like he's working maybe with his friends to start up something, or maybe they're his coworkers, but he's clearly working on some kind of project, like one big project. And interestingly enough, I've heard of many weird reasons to be on Terrace House, but his might take the cake.
Oh, man.
He's treating Terrace House as a focus group to see how like-aged individuals feel about new apps and new trends.
My boy's literally coming in here like, yo, y'all are just a part of my observational study.
This is a social experiment.
Yeah.
It was a bit of a red flag, and we'll talk about how that translates to his behavior later in the episode, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah, I was waiting for him to like break into like the anime kid style of like over explaining everything in an over complex fashion.
You see, it began when I was
Yeah.
And he also, of course, reveals he is not in a relationship, but he wants a girl who can be comforting and who he can depend on in his private life. And here, like, talking about that now, knowing about what happens at the end, it's kind of weird to think about.
Yeah, but we'll get there.
We'll get there.
So, intro happens, and we cut to the boys' room where all the boys get to know each other, which is especially interesting because these are two new characters. It's almost like a whole new season of Terrace House in a way.
It really
reminds
is.
me it reminded me a lot of like the first episode of whatever season. And the boys ask Shunsuke, "Oh, do you bring a lot of girls home?"
Yeah, with the girls here, they left their
makeup.
lipstick and their foundation here. He's like, no, that's mine.
Yeah, he practices makeup, and that's when Shunsuke tells him, "Yeah, you know, I'm curious. I might be bi. I'm here to confirm and find out who I am." And Sota, I think, says something along the lines of that he's never been with a guy before, so he's not sure himself.
Okay, I thought he said that.
Yeah,
I didn't know if maybe I read that wrong.
Yeah, no, Colin had to point that out to me, and we had to pause it and I had to go back because I was like, "Did he?"
Yeah, it's super quick because, well, Shunsuke's like talking 1 second, and then they cut to Kaito, and then they cut again really quick to Sota when he's saying that, but they only focus on him for a second. They don't even show his face.
So Sota did say, though, you guys
did
confirm.
say that he's never been with a guy before.
But
there's
What?
a but there. There's
Yeah,
a
there
is a
hesitation
but.
of like, oh, well, you know, you never know until you try, kind of the situation seems to suggest.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I thought I saw something there too. Okay, good. I'm glad I'm not the only one.
Yeah, you're not going crazy. Maybe just a little.
yeah.
Okay,
Whereas
that's fine.
Kaito, he doesn't say that he's bi. I mean, he seems pretty hetero, right? But he does say he's never had a friend who is bi, so it's going to be interesting to see how he reacts in the house with Shunsuke.
All these new doors, they're opened.
All these new doors. I think what's really cool too, though, is for the most part, it seems like everyone's relatively open about it. There was that initial thing we were like, whose makeup is this?
Yes.
That was funny.
Right.
Yeah.
And then we smash cut to the girls' room, and now the girls are all getting to know each other. I mean, really, it was just Maya getting to know them. But Maya reveals she's been out with 7 guys, the age of 19, which is amazing. It's great. And she immediately teases out, "Yeah, I don't think Shun is completely straight."
Yeah, she.
Clocks him.
Oh, yeah. Totally.
And,
Yeah.
I mean,
like,
he's
he was
throwing
talking
it out
about
there,
makeup.
right? Like he's like he does makeup and stuff. You know, she made several inferences. You know, it's fairly predictable, I guess.
Yeah. And what was more interesting, too, is that she said that it's never really worked out with guys, right? I mean, not to make assumptions, but if you have 7 boyfriends by the time you're 19, not many of those relationships probably lasted very long.
Unless she started when she was like damn near 8 years old.
Yep. Which is possible. I'm not going to pass judgment, but
That's when your boyfriend and girlfriend, you just like hold hands on the swing set or some shit.
right. And you're like, I held her hand yesterday. It's like, oh my God.
No, you just say that. You're like, will you be my girlfriend? It's like, yes. And then you forget
But you
to
run
break
away.
up, and 6 years later, you're still going out.
Yeah. And you still text each other like, hey, are we still a thing? Or
Yeah, I guess this is like a common law
what?
marriage now.
Do I know
so,
you?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, 3rd grade. Don't you remember?
We never broke up. I'm
We
back.
never broke up.
Yeah.
But she says, yeah, since it hasn't really seemed to work out with guys, she's always wondered what it'd be like to date a girl.
This is super interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I
we're
mean,
getting. Like, go
that's-
ahead.
We got
go ahead.
another bi-curious. No, I was going to say we got another bi-curious person. I wonder if that was on purpose from the producers.
Or like if they had any idea. Because like, I mean, that's the thing that is really nice and genuine about these two. I almost said characters again, but like members, you know, they're real people and they're figuring things out for themselves. And I recognize that as like, when I figured out that I was bi, it was just a lot of like, oh, you know, I really like girls, but that's not really an option, right? And then it's like, wait, no, that's an option. And it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
As
it
Sana
really
says,
does
it's
feel
10 times
very
the fun.
genuine, like this process that they're both possibly going through.
Right. And I see what I find interesting too is that none of these people are identifying necessarily as bi. Like they're not saying I am bi. It's more I might be, I don't know, but I've had like tendencies, urges, wants, maybe I should check and see, right?
It's a
Yeah.
spectrum.
The oil.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder what kind of dynamic that's going to create between the girls because they're like, I mean, they were like, oh, you know, we have a bi-curious boy, But now they have someone who's also bi-curious staying in the same room as them. So I wonder what kind of dynamic that's going to create throughout the house.
Right. And the last thing we learn here in the girls' room is that Aya really likes Sota. I mean, we kind of figured, right? But she makes it very explicit, like, oh yeah, he's totally hot.
Right.
I like the way she puts it too, like distinct features. She was like bam 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 bam, like all over his face.
But yeah, she's like bam 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 bam. I wonder what, like, I wasn't quite like, what does she mean by that?
I need to take a survey, okay, around the table. Who thinks that guy is attractive in this room?
I mean, I wouldn't smang him, but I wouldn't call him unattractive.
I wouldn't smang him. I don't know. I thought he was.
I mean, he's not a bad looking
ugly
dude. I don't know. I don't think I saw it like someone in Terrace house. Like I found Armand actually pretty attractive.
Yeah,
I think he's a pretty attractive dude.
Yes.
But like, I don't know. I think Shion's more attractive than him.
Totally, and Noah totally. And here's the thing: he's starting to get with the panel, right? He's also starting to get like this heartthrob status that I'm just not following. I just don't get it.
Yeah, I'm there with you, Jack. I was
Thank you.
Especially after we had like everyone walking in the room, the new members, and we had Maya, who's absolutely dazzling, and then Kaito, who has, I think, the most distinct look of the house, and he's very handsome, and then Sota, and I just think he just looks like a guy. He just looks like he's an older guy too.
He's just plain looking.
Yeah.
I think honestly, I think his professionalism plays into how attractive he is.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Maybe
is it might be a Japanese culture thing where it's not necessarily like his raw looks are attractive, but the fact that he's on a career track and, you know, he seems like he's a successful guy. He seems like he's set, like he has productivity about him. Like that might propel his status into like, oh, he's attractive.
Within Japanese culture, I would agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know. I mean, I definitely don't think he's like as good looking as say Taka or something like that.
No. Yeah, he's not even in the top half of attractive guys on this season alone, I don't think. So the fact that Tori-chan and you and everyone's like, oh, he's up there with, he's in the same conversation and sentence as Han-san. Like, come on, guys, come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
But all right, I think we should quit bashing his look.
I guess.
Yeah,
we will later. We will later.
Right. So because of the panel here, everyone's fawning over Maya. Maya is just the cutest, I guess. And Tokui says, and I love this show is so young and hip all of a sudden, and they're all worried that maybe they're going to grow out of touch with the people in the show.
Yeah, you said, we're just over here on this, getting older on this side.
Yeah, and
yeah.
Tokui says, and I love this just because we're all gamers, it's like asking if a PS4 game will run on an original PlayStation.
Yeah, that was good. That was a good quote. Write that one down.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm curious, though, maybe if the panel might be out of touch eventually. Like, do you think there might be a time where they'll be out of touch with the people who are on the show?
I didn't think that
so.
It was that, like, I didn't get that the show all of a sudden got that modern hip. It's just because Sota works in tech and there's a Hafu and there's a skater. I just didn't get, to me, the show's always been what it is right now. I didn't feel this tremendous sea change like they had said.
Right. I think though, like they referenced the occupations that people in the house have too. Like they brought up one of the guys from Boys and Girls Next Door in the original season who just aspired to be a firefighter. Right.
Oh yeah.
You remember Armand aspired to be that too?
Right. Remember when Armand aspired to be a firefighter? No. Well, not surprised you don't fucking remember. But like it's one of those things where Sota comes in and he's like, I'm an app developer. I'm in the tech scene. I might as well be just a Silicon Valley person, but living in Japan. I think that's what they're getting at.
Yeah. So we cut now back to the living room with Yui, Aya, and Kaito, and they're all kind of watching Kaito's cool, hip skating stunts. And I love Yui's face in this moment because she has that look of like a concerned mother watching her son fall off a cliff.
Yeah.
She just can't close her mouth.
Yeah.
Or her jaw dropped.
It was funny, yeah.
Yeah, and Aya asked a very pointed question. Who do you like more right now, Kaito, me or Yui? To which we learned that Kaito thinks Yui is, quote, unique, and he likes that.
Wow.
It's in a good way. And
Who
it's in
saw
a
this
much
coming?
different way than how he perceived her having watched Terrace House on TV, which I think is really telling to the last episode when Yui was watching herself on Terrace House and realizing how she can come off as pretty aloof.
Yeah, for sure. And it's funny because like she even brings up, it's like, really? Like I thought I looked like a jerk.
He's like,
Like I saw myself
sure?
differently, seeing, you know, not really unique, so much unique on when I watch myself on the show.
Right.
Yeah.
So after Aya leaves that room, Yui and Kaito actually make plans like, hey, let's go somewhere sometime.
Wow.
Yui, can you drive me somewhere, please?
I did
Please
not
do.
see this coming, but I'm so glad it's happening. I don't know. They're kind of my favorite. I wouldn't say they're a couple yet, but they're kind of my favorite pairing in the house at the moment.
you have a ship,
Yeah.
Jack. Let that ship sail.
I mean, I agree, right?
dream.
think because, like, you know, later on you see them, they're at the grocery store and they're shopping, and it's just the two of them. And it was maybe only a minute, right, of like montage smash cut footage, but it was kind of adorable.
Their energy together and their chemistry was really good. And I actually rewound it a couple times just for some reason, seeing them walk into the grocery store. Just they had a bounce in their step. I don't know what it was, but I rewatched it like 2 or 3 times. Like I've never had more fun watching people walk into a grocery store before.
I would also like to comment on, because I couldn't stop talking about it at the time, Kaito's getup that he had going on, the hat,
Oh my
with the hair
gosh.
coming out the back, and the
Yeah,
Hawaiian
so
shirt.
good.
I was
Yeah.
like, you Tommy Bahama poster boy
Dude,
looking motherfucker.
he's got fucking flavor. That guy's got some
Dude,
style.
he's got it going on.
Yeah, he's smooth. He's smooth.
All right,
Low-key
all right,
smooth.
man. God, that hair.
Low-key
Yeah, that's
smooth.
what. So you guys remember our last episode where I was like, "Oh, we have another first," I think, which
Yeah.
totally got dashed instantly as soon as we met Kaito. When he was like, "I want to show people that there are skaters like me in Japan." I thought that was alluding to another kind of identity. So I was thinking either we would have a like full-fledged gay character, character member daily. Geez, these are people.
Game.
They're real people. Or that we would have, instead of like a hafu, like a completely foreign member, just because like seeing the texture of his hair from the back, I thought he had like dreads.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, it kind of looks like dreads, though, right? I mean,
I think
that might
that's
actually be.
the idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, but all I know is I like it. He's got it going on.
He does.
He's got
I
that
like him
good
a lot.
tan. He's friends with Guy Sato. He's got it. He's built a good life for himself.
They were just really funny in the car and just everywhere. I like them way more than I ever expected I would.
Yeah. And they're gathering ingredients because they want to cook and have like a party that night, right? To kind of welcome the new party members, the house members. And Kaito, you know, he talks about how he can cook. He can make some really good dumplings. So like everyone's excited to try those. Damn, that looked delicious, by the way.
did.
Like,
God, I
Why
love
were
gyoza.
they making fun of him for using 2 hands for mixing the dumpling?
It's manly. It's very
Okay.
tactile.
yeah.
Mixing the dumpling mix.
Okay, man, they look good too. I wanted some.
Oh yeah. And the one thing that kind of stood out to me here is, you know, they're all like, they're having a good time, right? Like, kampai, you know, welcome to Terrace House and all that. And then Maya says something like, oh, this is hilarious. And Sota is like, no, it's not. This isn't. Why do you think this is funny? This isn't. I mean, this is fun.
Dude,
it's not funny.
I'm like, dude, why? What?
What?
Why
He's
would you say
harsh
this
and
is
her
like-
mellow. Yeah, like why would you use that word? What the fuck?
Yeah, it's like, what is your problem, dude? Like, damn, who
It
pissed in
felt
your
a little.
Cheerios?
Felt a little out of touch to me. Like maybe he's a little too nitpicky for his own good.
With human beings, yeah, he's like, I gotta go right code. No, it reminded me. I don't know if you guys know the movie Goodfellas. Anyone? Where
I know
Joe
of it. I've
Pesci
never
has that
actually seen
famous
it, for
scene where they're
shame.
like, the guy's like, Ray Liotta's like, man, you're really funny. And then Joe Pesci's like, what do you mean? What do you mean I'm funny? Like a clown? What? I'm here to entertain you? And he like starts getting real aggressive and real violent. He's like, you call me funny. You better tell me what you mean. It's like, no, I just think it's really funny. Like, it just reminded me of that. It's like, what do you mean hilarious? I'm gonna kill
It's
you.
just so.
I'm
It's so.
gonna make an app about killing you now.
Oh my gosh. It's so strange too, because like, especially with the juxtaposition about how he's been dressing now, it's very young. It's constantly this brand that's like FAT or something like that.
Oh yeah,
Like,
yeah. Is that his
And then
company?
he says things that are just very like
left field
and like straight laced and like no nonsense and kibishi, strict, and it's like, okay, I see you're here for
like
all business then.
He's like playing it overly straight in every situation.
He needs to lighten the fuck up. And I said that out loud multiple times during this episode. Lighten the fuck up, Sota.
That dinner kind of winds down, and then it's just kind of Maya and Kaito talking at the table. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm feeling like maybe Maya's trying to make some moves or like trying to do something with Kaito. Did you guys
learn so much about skateboarding in this episode because everyone just constantly was asking about skateboarding.
Hold on a second, guys. Hold on. I'm getting confused now. Sorry. Kaito is the skateboarder or the app guy?
Skateboarder.
And Sato is the app guy.
Sota.
Sota. Yeah. So, okay. Wasn't Sota and Aya at the table here?
I thought it was Kaito and Maya.
Well, wait. No. now we're getting confused.
Well, there are already new people, new names. I'm definitely getting confused.
There is a time when Aya and Sota are sitting at the kitchen table.
Okay.
No, that might be it, right? And Aya's asking him about
that's
his
what That's what I was confused about. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But then I think what you might be talking about is the next day we have Maya talking with Kaito while he regrips his boards.
Yeah, well, he's regripping a new board, right? Because he was getting rid of his old one.
Okay, right. So that's what it was.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what you're thinking about.
I didn't know you had to do that with a skateboard. I thought they just came with that stuff on it, and that was just how it was.
Well, if he's a pro skater and he gets that stuff in, right? He might like his own particular tape, so he might get the board without the grip tape. Some skaters have their preferences, especially if he's a pro.
Didn't realize it was so in depth, but learn something new.
Yeah, they get crazy about it. But
if you like the deck and you don't want to get rid of it, you can just regrip it.
Yeah,
interesting.
Right. So then the next day, all three new members go to Labisco, a big old gelato place, gelato and wine. Although I don't think they had any wine. And this conversation gets a little deep. It's a little deeper than I thought it would get. But all three of them like ask each other questions about their lives, and like where they're from and all that. And Maya says something kind of interesting where she thinks Kaito is basically like very comfortable with women, whereas Sota is very not experienced at all with women.
Yeah, and it's they openly kind of admit too that. I mean, Kaito just openly admits that he knows his way with women. Essentially, what he says. He just kind of is like really super open about it. And gosh, I'm already forgetting his name, Sota, and it is like, I'm not. I don't really care.
Yeah,
he just doesn't show much interest.
I'm not here for that.
What's an interesting foreshadowing is Sota says that he hasn't been interested in dating anyone since he was a student.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh. And also, it should be worth mentioning that I don't think they really explicitly say it, but they show at the top of the screen when showing the miniature titles or whatever for Kaito that he actually dropped out of school. Mm-hmm. He dropped out of high school in 2015. He was, I believe, 17.
Graduated? He never graduated.
No, because he dropped out knowing that, like, because you remember at Labisco he said that by the second year of high school, he was sure that skateboarding is the way to go in life for him.
Oh, I didn't know he meant like, I'm going to drop out of high school. That's crazy. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, the dropping out was just mentioned in a subtitle or like in in text, right? But yeah, he's not a high school graduate.
Wow.
Which is rare. An even crazier thing in a place like Japan, who values education so much. Yeah. But he's very serious about skateboarding, as we saw at Labisco.
Which is the same gelato place that Taka and Aya went on their first quote-unquote date.
Thank you.
It was interesting because they don't repeat a whole lot of locations in Terrace House.
Besides Tsubasa's dad's restaurant,
Yes.
No, totally. I was thinking that. I was like, seriously. I was thinking like, that place looks familiar, and so thanks for confirming that. And so, Sota kind of comes across a little strange here too. I mean, he just seems to have like an issue with like human interaction overall. I mean, I don't know if we talked about this already, but when like Aya is trying to drop the hint like, hey, take me out, drive me around, something like that, he snaps back at her, right? And he's like, you want me to drive you? You want me to be your driver?
You want me to be your driver?
What do you mean hilarious? What? I'm gonna kill you. Like, it's like, dude, just so quick to anger. Like she's asking you out, you idiot.
And like she literally like had to explain like, oh, I just meant it in like a fun way. Like we should go out. That's what I was trying to suggest.
Go out.
He's like, what? Am I Morgan Freeman? And you're like the white slave driver? Like, what is this?
See, I initially thought when he was saying, "Oh, you want me to be your driver?" I thought that was like just I wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt, and I thought that was just a joke that didn't land well. You know?
Yeah, I thought he was just trying to he was doing that in a flirtatious manner.
You did?
Oh, you want me to be your driver?
Move though.
No, yes. Looking back on it, it's like, oh, you just missed the hint and missed everything about that.
Yeah,
he does not smile. This man.
Yeah. It's also worth bringing up that so we know that Maya is in fashion school. They talk about this Labisco, but she's in fashion school, but she doesn't actually want to be a designer. She wants to do distribution.
What a weird ambition. That's a weird thing. I want to be a distributor. I don't hear anyone ever say that.
When she says distributor, like, does that have to do with marketing at all in that context?
Well,
I'm not sure.
That's B2B marketing, I think, where you're basically you call up Nordstrom and say, hey, can you carry our shit?
Right. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. But yeah, I guess that is a little especially someone her age. I think it's really specific. Props to her if that's exactly what she wants to do and she knows that's what she wants to do. But it is definitely very pinpointed and a kind of interesting choice.
But she said that she doesn't really know what she wants to do. She just knows that that's something that she's going for at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I mean, I'm just glad that she isn't a model. Like she could pull it off, but I am kind of getting tired of oh, it's a cute girl on Terrace House. Yep, she's a model.
Yep.
We have had a lot of models on Terrace House. That is very true.
Yeah.
Male and female both.
Yeah.
We could use a few more distributors.
Yeah.
There we go. I do like what she said though when they went through the rigmarole of questions. It felt like vaguely like an interrogation. When everyone first came in, I felt like Aya had to be she felt like she was the designated one to ask about people's types. But I like that what Maya said. She was like, Terrace House is so full of dreams, so I kind of came here to figure out what mine is.
Yes, she did say that. So yeah, super optimistic. I'm glad she's coming in there. She's not just I'm looking for my love, and it's okay, we get it.
No one really seems to be pinpointed in on I'm looking for a relationship,
which is nice,
right? Which is a nice change, especially if you watching all through Terrace House. Usually, a lot of the times, their motivation is I want to find someone.
Yeah,
yeah. I feel like Sana is basically using this as her grocery store to go shopping for relationships. Yeah, at this point.
And the last two things we learn is that both Kaito and Sota come from, I guess you could say, non-traditional households. Sota's parents split up when he was young, still in grade school. Mm-hmm. And Kaito just says that he grew up in a complicated family situation.
Right, which could play into the whole idea of him dropping out of school, maybe? Question mark?
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, we learned we get a pretty big bombshell towards the end of the episode, huh, guys?
We do.
We really do.
One thing I do want to hit before we get there, though, is that at some point before the end of the episode, Shunsuke asks Sota out to soba.
Yeah, is that a Kaito Dato? I was curious. My wife was like, did he just get asked out? I was joking. I was saying, is that a Kaito Dato? That's a question.
Sota's the app developer, right?
No, I know. I figured it out. I'm just saying, is this a date? Is what I'm really trying to say here. My wife was asking that too. She's like, wow, are they going on a date? I was like, I don't know. I guess we'll find out.
I mean, it might be.
Yeah.
Because, earlier in the episode, Sota's the only guy who has mentioned that, oh, I've never been with a guy before, so maybe. I don't know. Right?
Yeah. Opening that door.
Exactly. Keeping the door open.
Keep it going.
What I think is, and I mentioned it toward the beginning of us recording here, was that Shunsuke definitely does open up a little bit. I feel like he's a little bit more comfortable around people. He doesn't feel as shy in this episode, so I think that's good. We're getting to know him a little bit better. He's showing a little bit more personality.
Yeah.
He needs especially the part where he just openly asks him, quote unquote, out.
Right. And part of that might just be that now he's not the new kid. There's less pressure on him. Right now he's kind of the older person to three new kids.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's not even the youngest anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
And we have a last scene with the panel where basically they're saying they like Kaito maybe a little bit more than Guy. At least he seems more grounded than Guy was, which I think is a pretty apt description. I don't know how you guys feel about that. I mean,
he does. He's not like the words that they said was like he's not as spacey.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
They have so much in common, though. They really do.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, he's not. What's the word? He's not completely ignorant to what's going on around him, like Guy was.
Damn.
He wouldn't try to make a tent on the beach out of sticks.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The day. Oh my God.
World Sets tent.
Day.
Oh, we gotta. Okay, guys, we gotta stop.
Okay.
We gotta stop
All right.
referencing.
I was about to say there's some interesting scenes I'm eventually going to watch. Apparently,
Yeah.
100%.
Oh, 100%. You're in for a treat.
I forgot about that tent.
The last thing the panelists hit on, which I find is just pretty good, like good job on the editors for doing this. The last scene the panelists talk about, or the last thing they talk about, is that they can't really put a finger on Sota. They kind of can't get a good reading on him. They don't understand.
I was very
I don't think any of us
surprised.
can.
He's shattering expectations in a lot of ways, and maybe not in the most positive of ways from our first impressions, because I was very surprised to learn that he didn't graduate high school.
That's Kaito.
Or, sorry, fuck. Hold on. No, I'm sorry. No, he didn't go to college.
There you
Sota
go.
did not go to college.
He didn't go to college. Yeah,
Yes.
he did the whole Bill Gates thing where
That's what
like
it is.
I'm gonna stop going to school and do a whole tech company thing.
Right. Well,
Yeah,
he was invited to that company by a friend.
Yeah,
Right,
he didn't
right.
found it, I don't think. Was
No,
he a founding
no.
member?
No, but he's obviously like pretty damn good at what he does though.
Yes, but he does have
That's-
that. I'm just
I was
saying
gonna
he
say
has
that's
that
what
air
that's what
about him.
editing is showing. Like, right? Like, I'm wondering like how good is he and how focused is he really? I don't know. He seems kind of like he could morph into a villain character here soon. I don't know if he keeps
Maybe.
Oh, so
confronting
do you
people
think
the way he
think
is.
there's more issues going on at work for him than they're alluding to?
Potentially. I just don't know. Like I said, like the panel said, I can't really get a good reading on him. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
Fair enough. Yeah, I'm definitely interested to see what happens, but we talk about the ending of the episode.
Yeah, so we get to the end here, and it's a living room, and Soda's sitting there, and Yui comes in, and she's like, I can't sleep. Maybe I'll come talk to you. Which is a
Maybe.
weird way to phrase, can I talk to you? And, and she kind of keeps phrasing questions like that, like, maybe I'll ask you this question. Maybe we'll talk about this. And it's like, come on, just drop the babies.
What a weirdo.
Anyway, we get to learn about Sota, or at least more, right? And Yui starts off by saying, I was initially scared of you. You've got the scowl on your face. It's kind of very intimidating. And he drops a bomb where he's like, well, when I was your age, I had a kid.
Oh.
When I was 20, I had a baby. I was married, and we got divorced, and now I don't see the kid ever.
Dropping bomb after bomb, and he's wearing those frames. Can we talk about that for a second? Those glasses were thick. They were so thick, dude. I
don't know. It kind of, it can definitely explain a lot of things about the way he behaves. You know what I mean?
He's got a dark backstory.
It explains why he hasn't looked for a relationship since he was a student.
Yeah.
he's got kind of a
mental scarring going on or something.
I mean, I
he's-
can see why he might have his guard up then, because if it got that bad, the way he was describing it, he even said, he was like, I don't want to put it this way, but when you have a child at that age, things get constrained. And it's like that pretty much painted the picture of he was very unhappy, but they stuck with it for, it was 2 years before they broke it off and got divorced.
Yeah,
and then she moved away. Either way, they his ex and his child don't live in Tokyo. They live far away, and he hasn't seen them since,
Right.
and he doesn't intend to.
Yeah,
seems
very
like.
Yeah, they have an
purposely.
agreement. They have an
Very
agreement, right,
purposely.
that
Yeah,
he
this
can't see the
this
kid.
really cut the cord to me, because they purposely did not want him to have contact with his child. Did they say it was a son or daughter?
Son.
Son.
Well, yeah.
It's a son.
Around the time he gets to be 5, because that's what he said was when people start like kind of recognizing and vocalizing and drawing these connections. And I personally think it's way before that, but that was dark, dude. Especially coming from a background where I've actually never met my own father, biologically, and so that really hit me a little bit harder to see the other side of it, right? We all know that kids, there is a certain financial responsibility and time responsibility, and your priorities change as a parent. Like, we can all, infer that, of course, but to see that kind of play out, I was like, man, that is just really dark.
Yeah, it's really dark, and he gets really real about it too, though. And he's just like, when you're 20 years old and you have a kid, I mean, you're still kids yourself. Like, you don't really know what to do in that situation. I mean,
fair.
I tried to deal with it for 2 years, and there was just a lot of miscommunication. And then eventually we got to the point where, like, one of us had to move on, and I just agreed never to see the kid again, And I mean, it's one thing to like you're with someone and they're pregnant, and then the person leaves and you never actually see the kid, but he actually watched the kid grow up for 2 years.
Yeah.
And raised the kid. And then next thing you know, he never can see him again.
And part of his reasoning too for not wanting to come back is that he said, like, along with at 5 years old, it's when you start sensing the world. He said that he didn't want to be that person who when the kid's 5 just comes up and is like, hey, I'm your dad. I haven't been there until now, but I'm your dad. And that shook me. Because it's like, man, what does that do to a kid?
Oh, it's not good things. I can tell you guys right now, it does not do good things to someone to grow up without a father figure. I can speak from experience. And
I mean, more so like, hey, I could have been around, but I'm not. And now that you're 5, hi, I'm your dad, but I'm not going to be around. Like, that's just like, woof.
That's just that. Yeah, you might as well just stay out of it then. At that point, is basically what he's saying.
Who can say?
And then we also find out that Yui never met her own father.
Mm.
Yeah, that was interesting in that just kind of like was the best, I guess, setting that this kind of confession could have happened. Like, we didn't know that about Yui. We do know that she's, very close with her mom, but to have that also come out felt very natural in that moment, in something that could feel fairly forced, like he's forced to, tell something about himself to someone because he's been such an enigma in the house so far.
Yeah.
And, if you examine this situation a little bit more with Sota specifically, it's very interesting when you think about it juxtaposed to the current kind of climate in Japan overall as a culture. They have a very difficult couple decades up ahead where they are a country of essentially elderly people. There are way too many people living way too long in Japan. They're going to be draining Social Security here very soon, and there's a lot less people being born, right? There's a lot less kids because this problem that Soda's outlining is that it's just very hard to raise someone in Japan. I mean, obviously, it's hard for any young parent anywhere in the world, but it's a problem, right? And so I'm worried that like this kind of story, this kind of narrative might just not worried. I mean, I'm glad we're shining a light on it, but it could also exacerbate that too and show like the example, like, see, this is why you don't have kids young. But they are a company that's growing old, and there are not enough people being born to replace all the people that are kind of leaving the workforce, right? So in the next couple of decades, Japan's going to be a country that is going to depend very, very heavily on foreign workers, and it's going to really, literally change the face of the country. I don't know if you guys follow any of that geopolitical stuff.
No, that's really good insight, though, and I think that that this brings a really interesting dynamic to the show, right? It's almost feeling it's bringing this like somber, almost dramatic tone to the show that we've never seen before, and it just kind of reinforces why I love this show so much and why they're not afraid to branch out and bring new stuff in. Like, this is probably my favorite series in the show history so far, opening new doors, because they've just brought in so many new things, and they're not afraid to bring in this diverse cast of people with so many different backgrounds. I mean, this is a 100% a first for Terrace House as far as I know.
Yeah, first kid. Yeah, they're definitely blazing new trails, within the narrative of the story. It's definitely getting a lot more complicated, a lot more complex, and I think it serves to make a better show overall.
Yeah, and it totally makes sense that like it brings more breadth to the reason why Sota came to the show, right? He's like, I'm just coming here for an observational study, and it's like, is he full of shit? No, he doesn't seem like it, because he is genuinely there. He doesn't want any sort of emotional connection. It seems like he's very much guarded.
Yeah, his career is kind of it for him right now. It seems like in the early days, anyways. We'll see what changes, especially with this Soba date coming up.
Oh yeah,
that's
right. I forgot about that.
Soba stick.
I don't know. Do you guys have any predictions about what Sota's like? What he's going to end up even doing on Terrace House? Because I feel like he's not going to be doing much.
I could see that happening, or Or since he's, because does he usually live by himself? I can't remember if you mentioned that.
I think he said that. I thought.
Did he?
Remember.
I don't know. I'm gonna go out on a limb and think that it sounds like he lives by himself. But assuming he does, I feel like living with these other people. I mean, seeing how he already opened up to Yui, I hope we see some sort of character arc full of self-exploration.
It's already there in the first episode. Yeah.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, he's already opening up a lot about his past and stuff like that. So maybe his time on Terrace House, I hope anyway, will be some sort of like cathartic for him.
I am going to pull a Tokui here and give you guys a story. Okay. So after Soba, Shunsuke and Sota are going to go back to the office where Sota works. He's going to show him the back inner workings of his application. Shunsuke is going to get, to play the app first before anyone else. They're going to sit in a dark room, dimly lit, on a comfortable couch, and they're going to play the game together, and then they're going to gaze into each other's eyes, and there will be a kiss.
And then they're going to fuck.
Oh my God. And then the camera just goes down to the phone on the floor with the app playing.
You heard it here first, folks.
Nice. Nice.
There it is.
As much as I want that to happen, I feel like Terrace House might kind of be the chance for Sota to regain the youth that he lost when he was, raising a kid and having to grow up very fast. He's hanging out with people that are younger than him and are generally living a lifestyle that's more revolved around leisure than work. So I think maybe shifting gears into that kind of lifestyle and being around those kinds of people might soften him up a bit.
Yeah, and I certainly hope so too. He just needs to let his guard down. That's very obvious in this first episode.
Although, I just had a thought that either one or two things is happening right now in Japan, and both really suck. One, a 5-year-old out there without a father is looking at Terrace House and is like, "Mom, is that?"
Oh my God!
Is that him?
Shit. You dark fucker, Scarpanito.
Nope, but that's a possibility. Or two, there's a 5-year-old out there who knows that his daddy left it too, so he has very vague memories of dad, and then is seeing this like, "Oh my God, that's him. That's my dad."
Stop, Robert.
What's wrong with you, man?
Jeez.
Oh no.
And let's twist the knife a little bit.
He just keeps the one teddy bear that Sota gave him.
And I just want to remind you that through the eyes of this 5-year-old, he just watched his father say, and it'd just be confusing to walk into my kid's life at the age of 5 and say, "Hey, I'm your dad." So I never want to see him.
I'm leaving this podcast right now.
Oh my God. Crushed. Fucking crushed.
Yeah.
On that note,
That's some
deep
shit.
in the fields, Scarpanito. Deep in the fields.
Dame desu ne.
Oh, man. Yeah, I went to a dark place for that one. I hope you guys are happy.
So happy. Can't you hear how happy we are?
Well, on that note, this has been Tadaima.
Yeah.
This is the end of the podcast.
Later.
9 episodes in, we're done. Now, but that has been the end of this episode of Tadaima. Jack, do you want to tell everyone about the contest?
Yep. Ongoing contest, guys. We're trying to promote the show. Help us out. We like where the downloads are right now, but they can always be better. So please tell your friends about our show and tell them about Terrace House and get them to join the Terrace House clan. The Tadaima clan is our Facebook group. But to enter our contest, what you need to do is follow us on Instagram at Tadaimagram, follow us on Twitter at TadaimaPod, and then leave us a review, preferably on iTunes, preferably a high 5-star review. But essentially, those are the 3 things you need to do. And if you don't have iTunes, then just review us on any platform you want. We just really need your guys' help to promote the show. If you do that, there will be an awesome prize that we are going to announce, and it'll be worth your while, I promise. So keep those entries coming. Thanks so much.
Yep. And you can email us anything that we missed, any other dark undertones that maybe we've missed. You can email them to us at questions@terracehousepodcast.com. Our next episode is going to be this Thursday on Christmas Eve. For those of you who celebrate, you'll have an early present to open with your ears.
Yeah.
This has been Tadaima. Thanks for listening. Itekimasu. Email us at questions@terracehousepodcast.com. and follow us on Instagram at TadaimaGram and on Twitter at TadaimaPod. Check us out on Facebook and YouTube at Tadaima, a Terrace House podcast.